Welcome to newspaper analysis session. So we are going to discuss these topics today. So there is a decline in the poverty in India. So we will try to understand what is meant by the poverty. What is the economic dimension of the poverty? Are there any other dimensions of the poverty? So basically here we got only one newspaper article regarding the decline in the poverty. So we will also try to understand various other dimensions related to poverty. So I will try to open up your mind regarding your understanding in terms of the poverty, and also what are the steps that we take in general to handle and address this poverty. Okay, so we'll try to look at these things. Then another major topic for today is RBI has RBI is trying to push money in the system, push money in the so that it can boost the economy. So how it does that thing, and what is this RBI monetary policy committee, and what is this policy rate and all. So things that are related to this things we will see. And then there are certain factual informations like Umeed portal, Bharatiya Bhasha Anubhag initiative, and also Arnala. These kind of things they will be asking you more in the prelims point of view. Okay, so and G7, this also they can also ask you regarding this grouping, and also in the prelims they will ask you in the terms of the mapping and the locations. Then another mains related topic is the satellite communication. This is another important dimension that we need to be prepared, and like I have mentioned, there is a possibility that satellite based communications can be asked. So what is the significance and what are the challenges associated with that? So directly the questions can be asked in your GS3 science and technology. So let's try to understand one after other. So we will be starting with the poverty in India. See here, they have given us the article. So basically they are talking about okay, so I have given a reference article as well, so you can check this thing. So basically the World Bank's recent adjustment of the poverty line to $3 a day. So understand here, so World Bank is having one particular value. So if any particular person spends less than $3 per day, then he will be considered as a poor. So using this criteria, that is $3 per day, this will be handy for you to write mains answers. Okay, so what is the World Bank's criteria to declare a particular person as a poor or not? So this is a $3 per day. If any person spends anything less than that, then they are considered to be a poor. Okay, so the extreme poverty rate, based on this thing, the extreme poverty rate has dropped to 5.3% in 2022 from 27% in the 2011. So this is the point that we need to understand. The extreme poverty rate has come down here. So when we are talking about the poverty, extreme poverty rate, so try to understand the concepts in a proper manner. What is this extreme poverty? So basically, when we study from the economy point of view, poverty means a scenario where you do not have the money for your even to purchase the basic commodities like water, food, shelter, these kind of basic things. Even to purchase these things, you do not have the money. This is called as an extreme level of the poverty. So every person need to live, and they need to purchase something for their livelihood and all. So if they do not have the even $3 per day, then they will be considered as a poverty. So this is considered to be a kind of scenario. It is which is extreme. This is, you also have the relative poverty. Generally, this relative poverty you see in the developed countries. In India, majority of the cases you see the absolute extreme poverty, where people do not have even money for purchasing the basic things. Relative poverty means the other person is earning somewhere 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 1 lakh per month, and some other person is earning maybe 5,000 per month, 7,000 per month. So for you, the basic living is not a problem, but in relation to the other person, you are considered to be poor. Okay, generally in the developed countries, you will see this kind of scenario. But in the countries like India, developing countries, and in the least developed countries, you will find this problem of absolute poverty. So you have poverty means a scenario where you do not have the minimum amount of money to purchase some things which are very essential in nature. This is called as poverty. Now, let me open up your mind. So, on economic front, if you do not have the money to purchase the basic things, you are considered to be a poor. So poverty, can it be only restricted to only economic criteria? If you think from the society dimension, social dimension, the poverty, there is poverty on multiple fronts. For suppose, now see, in the Gaza, okay, so it is not just about the economic thing. Okay, there the people are also not being given any kind of fundamental right to talk, to speak, to explore. So here they also have the political dimension to this thing. Or consider another scenario. When we go back to the 18th and 19th century, for suppose women from the upper caste communities or any other communities, they are supposed to follow this parda system, burqa and all, right? So they might be belonging to rich class, but still they do not have any kind of freedom to come out, to do the job, to do the things they want. So they have the money, but they cannot utilize it. Is it not the poverty? So you also have the poverty, not just on the economic front, you also have the poverty on the political front, social front as well. For suppose, I'm teaching to the person who cannot see me or who cannot listen to me. So I'm teaching the same person for the disability person who's having some kind of disability. I'm teaching him as well in the same manner. He's sitting in the class, but he could not utilize the class or he could not utilize the resources that are available because for him different attention is required, differently abled people, but those are not available. So again, whatever the resources that currently he is having, okay, they are of zero utility for him. So again, this is considered to be a kind of poverty. And then, okay, because of pollution, one person has water, another person do not have the access to the clean water. Okay, so they are living in a hazardous situation, taking polluted water, not clean environment. So your poverty has multi dimensions. Okay, so poverty can never be a unidimensional. Poverty is a multi-dimensional concept. It is not just about the money. You should be also having the capability to make use of that money. So write that thing. Okay, this will be very helpful for you in the mains. Poverty is a multi-dimensional. So in the UPSC mains, they have already asked the question on this thing. It is not just economic. Comment. Okay. So why is this multi-dimensional? So on social front, for suppose women are not given freedom. Okay. Or patriarchy, you can say. Or you can talk about disabled friendly resources not available. Disabled friendly resources are not available. Or on geography front, you are living in the area where you are isolated. You have money, but in that area you do not have the roads to bring resources to you, to make the resources accessible to you. So you are living in a difficult terrain, or maybe because of some kind of calamity, all the roads got disconnected. For suppose if a people is living in the Sikkim where it is affected by the landslides, again they are considered to be poor. What they will do with the money? So you have to think on the multiple dimension. Think on the political dimension. For suppose a person is rich, but he is narrow-minded. He do not have the broad thinking. He is not secular. He is orthodox. He is thinking as a corrupt mind. So there is a poverty of thought. This is one way of thinking. On another front, let's assume the person is not allowed freedom. For suppose in India, every minority community or each and every community has the freedom. They are treated on par equally with everyone. For suppose take the countries like Bangladesh, Pakistan, or any other nations, African countries, there not every community has the same equal right. Okay. For suppose a state has any kind of religion, then if any person practices some other religion, they will not be given any kind of freedom. So they are not allowed to come out. They are not allowed to practice their business properly because of their community, because of their faith. So again, there is a political poverty. So it is not just about the economic dimension. Okay, now I have also told you environment. You do not have access to the clean fuel. You are forced to use the wood to get the fuel. You are burning the wood to get the fuel. Now this is on the environment front. You are considered to be poor. That's why we also have the multidimensional poverty index. Basically, for our understanding purpose, always the multidimensional poverty index is the most significant one. Okay, see here. See here, multidimensional poverty index, just see an idea. So we are not just looking at the economy. We are also seeing if the person is receiving proper nutrition, if the person is getting the education, how is the living standards, is he getting access to the clean sanitation or not, water, hygiene, cooking fuel, is it good or not, drinking water, electricity, housing, what kind of assets the person has. So basically there are 10 criteria. And this is developed by the Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative in collaboration with the UNDP. Very, very important. Who develops it? In the same way, Niti Aayog also uses 12 criteria and they releases the multidimensional poverty index. Whatever may be the criteria, poverty levels in India are continuously coming down. So if you just use the unidimensional criteria, poverty levels are very low. It is 5% or something. If I use the multidimensional criteria, which has multiple indexes, the poverty will be 15%. Different criteria, different levels. Whatever be the scenario, overall poverty is coming down. Right? Now, you need to address the poverty. How do you address the poverty? You need to address all these fronts. If you see the government schemes, they are taking various things. For suppose PM Ujjwala scheme, where they are providing cylinders, gas cylinders, they are being provided so that they get access to the clean fuel. PM Awas Yojana, they are talking about. Jal Jeevan Mission, they are talking about water. Solid waste management, Swachh Bharat Mission. So if you see, all poverty is government is trying to address everything. We have seen this one health insurance scheme, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya. We have RT Act, Right to Education Act, for the education purposes. Now you also have, say, if the person does not have any kind of economic activity. So in case if the person is struggling without any job, then we also have this MGNREGA. Okay, so government will provide 100 days of the employment for any person in their household in the rural areas. If they are not able to provide the employment, government will provide you money. So with this, what is happening? You are getting the money. So this is one way to handle the poverty. So I am directly giving you the job. If not job, I am providing you the money. This is one way. On another side, so see, this way I can divide my measures. See here, poverty measures. You can add all these things under the same in these three classifications. You can note down this thing. So one thing is the employment generation method. Employment generation, wage-based safety, and another thing is a social safety net. So these are your measures to the poverty. I'll not just dump my information randomly. I'll classify them broadly under the various three headings. So wage-based means, here I am talking about this MGNREGA. So you are assured, especially in the rural areas. In urban areas, you do not have the equivalent scheme. So that's why urban areas poverty is rising. So I am giving you 100 days of employment. Here I am training you to get the employment, National Rural Livelihood Mission. So I will make a group of people, I'll provide them skill, and then I'll make sure that they are getting employment. So I am here helping teaching the person to catch the fish. Here I'm giving you the fish. Here I'm teaching you to catch the fish. But till you get skilled enough, you need money. So I'm providing you the social security. I'm providing Food Security Act. I'm providing basic health insurance. I'm providing unemployment allowance. Got it? So I have simplified this thing, but this is not that easy, and this is the one, when you write this thing, you are going to get the marks in the mains. We need to address the poverty, because once a UPSC essay has asked, poverty anywhere is threat everywhere. If you are not concerned about the poverty in the neighboring countries, for example, okay, if Pakistan becomes failed state, Bangladesh becomes failed state. Today we see so many people migrating into the India from the Bangladesh. Why? Because there is poverty. They are underdeveloped. Now migrating into India and causing the problems. Or they might take up the arms. They might become the criminals. Or any kind of problems that might result in the other areas. So entire essay can be written based on the content that we have discussed now. So you have to elaborate these things. So you need to address on all the fronts. You need to make people change their narrow minds also. So on everything. So Amartya Sen has given. So poverty is about the capacity building. Amartya Sen concept of the poverty is, so it is a capability approach. That's what I said. I have given you the resources, but I am not allowing you to utilize the resources. I am not giving you the freedom. Then you are considered to be poor. Now you should be having the freedom to use them, freedom to talk. You should be having freedom everywhere. Okay, like say if the disabled person does not have the freedom, he could not understand things. If the woman is not getting the freedom, if any person from particular region is not getting the freedom. So ultimately when you get the total freedom to utilize everything, then you are not considered to be poor anymore. This is the Amartya Sen's capability concept. So narrowly, just economic criteria, but that itself is not sufficient. Poverty is a multi-dimensional concept. So is this clear? Now, see here, though poverty is reducing in India, if you consider the value, the number in the absolute terms, see here, the India has the largest number of poverty. It is almost 23 crore, 234 million. Okay, later on, that is Pakistan, Ethiopia, Nigeria, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Okay, so this says GDP alone is not sufficient. We should make sure the benefits of the economy are reaching to everyone. So that's why we talk about the inclusive growth. So where we are saying not just the development, that development should happen to every section of the society. Everyone should get benefited. So whether it is reaching to everyone or not, how do you know? So not just the GDP criteria, you need to see various criteria, multidimensional poverty assessment, regional growth, all these things you will see and you will analyze, and then accordingly you have to take the steps. That's it. Next, RBI in the recent meeting, they have taken these steps. They have cut the repo rate, they have reduced the cash reserve ratio, and they have made a policy shift from the accommodative to the neutral, stands from accommodative to neutral to support the growth. Okay, so what is this thing? So you have So what is monetary policy? First understand the basic terminology. Monetary policy refers to the process by which Reserve Bank of India controls the money supply, cost of credit and availability of the funds in the economy. So basically they are controlling the money supply in the economy. Money is the one which is promoting the growth, or it is the one which is causing the inflation. Okay. The RBI's main target is inflation control. So RBI has main target inflation control. How much inflation? Okay, it has to be 4 plus or minus 2%. Okay, so it should be up to 6% it is allowed. Okay, between 2 to 6% we can think of. So when this inflation target is achieved, RBI will also make sure the economy is also growing. Currently we have seen the GDP has been slowed down, it is growing, but still we have seen it is only 6.5%. Now RBI wants to push the growth. How they can do that? So if for suppose, if as a bank I reduce the interest rates, now you may come to me to borrow money. If I am charging you 10% interest rate, you might think, if I say today, hypothetically I am saying, if I say I will charge you only 5%, then you will think, okay, let's take that money. Okay, I may purchase a bike, or I may purchase a home, or I may do the business. So you will think of various things if the interest rate is reduced. So whenever RBI reduces the interest rates, they can push the growth. They can raise the demand. Okay, this thing happens. So basically, what is RBI doing? RBI is injecting money in the economy. So they are making sure the economy as a system gets the more money. How they are doing this thing? See, here you have the RBI, here you have the banks, here you have the people. So banks, they'll maintain, okay, so people will come and invest or deposit with the banks. What these banks do? They will lend to the some other people. For suppose, now you have deposited 100 rupees with the bank. So out of this 100 rupees, RBI will say, you keep some amount of money with RBI and some amount of money with yourself. Okay. So RBI will say, let's say this is the total deposits. I'm saying one hypothetical value. If you have to deposit some amount of money with the RBI, let's say it is 5%. This is called the cash reserve ratio. So in a form of cash, as a reserve, you have to maintain it with the RBI. So I'm saying it is 5. So this is 5 rupees. And they will also say some part of money, you keep it as a liquid form, means easily available money, means cash, gold. Okay. So where you can easily convert them into the cash with yourself, bank itself. So they will maintain it in our own kitty. Let's say this is 20%. So 25 rupees out of 100, they are not able to lend it to anyone. Now, why these restrictions? Because for suppose whoever the person is borrowing from the bank, now they did not repay to the bank. Now this person will come. Okay, let's say this X person has deposited the money. He will come and ask, give me my money. So what will they do? So they will put certain portion aside. But as this money is not available for the lending purposes, so the amount of money supply in the economy is reduced. Now if the RBI reduces this, if the SLR is reduced to the 10%, if this is made to the 1%, now see here, so this is here 4 and here 10 rupees, total 14 rupees more banks can lend it for the other person. So is this clear? If I am reducing the SLR and the CLR, more money in the system, okay, this can increase the growth. This is one thing. Second thing, now see, okay, let's do this way. Now the same banks, they are supposed to maintain some amount of liquidity on daily basis, like I have told you, the SLR. Okay. After that they can go for the lending purposes. They have to maintain overnight some amount of liquidity with them. For suppose they have lent money to some person and they are not able to maintain that particular limit, then they will visit the RBI. And they will visit RBI and they will ask for the money. RBI will say, you keep us some collateral, you give us some collateral. Generally, government bonds they will keep as a collateral and they will borrow money from the RBI. So they will give some collateral and RBI, they will take money from the RBI. But RBI will charge some interest on them because RBI is lending them. So RBI has to receive some interest rate. So that rate is called the repo rate. This is called repo rate. Now RBI has reduced. Now see, repo rate. That means interest rates are reduced. So banks will be able to borrow more from the RBI. The money they will lend it to the people. So now you understood? Simple thing. They have reduced the repo rate. They have reduced the cash reserve ratio. They have reduced the SLR. Okay, all these things. I think currently these two are reduced. So with these reductions, more money in the system. People will purchase more. So they are getting more money and the economy will be boosted. Now, since the interest rates are lowered, now say there's another, the people, now they are depositing money in the banks. Previously, interest rates were high. Assume that there was 10%. Or suppose X person is depositing in the money in the bank and they were getting 10% return. Now, will the person get the same interest? No, because overall interest rates have been reduced by the RBI. So now the banks will also say, I will also give you only 5% because interest rates are lowered everywhere. So whoever is the depositors, whoever is saving the money, now they will also not benefit. They will not get benefited. So whoever is borrowing, they will get benefited. Consider yourself as a kind of person. You are going to borrow money from some person. They are charging you lower interest rates. Now think from their perspective. Now they are losing out because they have to charge less amount of interest from you. Clear? So this is the basic thing. So whenever the RBI reduces the rates, so this will push the demand. This will push more money. Whenever there is more money in the economy, so there can be growth because people will take the money and go for the purchasing activities and all. So when there is more demand, so companies will go for more supply. Increase of the supply and growth will increase. For suppose if the supply could not match the demand, then again there is an inflation possibility. So RBI will again raise the interest rates. It will increase the interest rates. So this process keep on going on happening. Okay, so when the RBI raises the interest rates, then it is called monetary tightening. Okay, when the RBI lowers the interest rates, then it is called accommodative policy. Okay, so this way there are different policies. Very simple thing. UPSC repeatedly asks every year questions from this. So very easy thing. So another thing I am trying to add here. Add one more layer. Bond prices. Bond prices will increase. So bond means a kind of guarantee, a surety. For suppose I have a company. So I need 100 rupees. So I will say, I will give you this my company, I'll say I'll give you the bond of 100 rupees and I'll say I will give you 10 rupees, 10% interest rate. So this is a kind of guarantee. So any person can hold the same bond. Whoever brings it to me, so I will give them 10% interest plus the principal 100 rupees. So if it is the bond price is 100 rupees, currently the interest rates are high previously. Okay, so the person will get 100 plus 10 rupees. Okay, so 110 rupees the person will get. Now this X person needs money. So he will say to the Y, okay, you purchase this bond, you may get this money. Okay, but this person will say, now currently market is not offering you this 10% interest. Market has reduced the price, interest rates. Okay, now currently interest rates are only 5%. So what this guy say? This guy, in order to match this thing, so this guy will raise the price to the 105 rupees. So that 105 plus 5 rupees interest becomes 110. So whenever the interest rates are reduced, bond price increases in the market. This is also favorite questions asked by the UPSC. Okay, this is the points that you need to know. So are we clear here? So what have we studied here? So we have studied what is the objective of. So first we have studied what is monetary policy. What is monetary policy? Basically these are steps taken by the RBI or Monetary Policy Committee to control the money supply in the market. That's it. Very simple. And money supply you are controlling. Money supply. So here we have seen various instruments. Repo instrument. Then I have told you CRR. Then I have also told you SLR. This is the rate at which RBI charges money on the banks. This is the cash the banks has to keep it with the RBI. This is the liquid form of the money the banks has to keep it with themselves. Okay. So these things, the RBI has reduced these things. So with this thing, the money supply in the market will increase. Now how this thing will impact the bond price also we have seen. Now see, now I told you if the banks cannot maintain the overnight liquidity, they will reach out to the RBI to borrow the money. That is called repo rate. And there is a limit on which banks can borrow. They cannot borrow unlimited amount of money. For suppose if they want more money, now RBI will charge them some penalty and they will lend it. So the rate at which RBI gives the interest, okay, or lend it to the bank is called the marginal standing facility, MSF. So this will be more than the repo rate. If the repo rate is 6.5%, this will be 7.5% something. So this is a penalty rate. RBI will charge extra because it has overreached its limit. They are borrowing more. Banks are borrowing more from the RBI. So it is charged more. This is the point. Okay. Now I imagine a scenario where the demand is very less. None of you guys are approaching the bank to borrow money. Now the banks have the excess money. So in these scenarios, banks will also park money with the RBI. So they say, RBI, you borrow money from us. Basically, it is they are parking the money from the RBI. So RBI will sometimes take it and sometimes deny it. Sometimes they will take it. And they will, now here RBI will pay them interest also. So that is called the reverse repo. That is called the reverse repo. So this is a scenario where banks are lending it to the RBI. Lending means generally when they will do, none of you guys are borrowing from the banks. So they will lend it to the RBI. Okay. Even during the COVID time periods, government used to push more money. So there was more money supply in the market and this was increasing the inflation. Then in that case, RBI has introduced one more tool that is called the standing deposit facility. Under this standing deposit facility, this is same like reverse repo rate. Banks can park excess money with the RBI. Here in the reverse repo rate, just like repo rate, they need the collateral. But in the standing deposit facility, no collateral is required. You can park as much as money you want with the RBI. No collateral is required. This was introduced in the 2022. So for sure, you will see the question on this thing next year or that year. You see the PYQs. Every year they are asking some question on this thing. So I have tried to make these things as simple as possible. Okay. So I have taught you all the basic concepts from this. Okay, RBI. So here you have the also, like I told you, RBI is the one deciding the monetary policy. But recently in the 2016, government said not RBI alone should decide the monetary policy. So there has to be some committee. So monetary policy committee has been formed. There will be 3 members from the government and 3 members from the RBI. They together will meet 4 times a year and they will take the decisions. And entire body will decide the monetary policy. Everything is there in your notes. You need to rewatch the content again if you don't understand and revise the material. Your concepts will be clear. Anyway, these fundamental concepts will be taught to you again in your economy module. Only when you link it with the current affairs, then only you will be able to understand. So or else for you it becomes very theoretical. So what is happening in the current affairs? This will give you, see here the consumer price inflation, this was a target that is given to the RBI So in the May, they have seen that the inflation was 3%. Now this is a very good macroeconomic scenario. Now currently our GDP is reducing. Imagine a scenario, the inflation is also very high, 6%, 7%. Sometimes we will see this thing. So this is a scenario, that scenario where the inflation is high and GDP is also low, that is called stagflation. So if now in this case RBI is able to reduce the interest rates. If the inflation was high, what would have been RBI could do? What then in that scenario, what can RBI do? No, then that becomes a very tricky situation. It becomes very difficult. On one side there is high inflation. GDP is low and inflation also low. That is not related to the per capita income. We are just talking about the inflation and the GDP. So here in this case, inflation is low, so that's why RBI is pushing money. What is inflation? Inflation means price rise in the basket of commodities. When there is more money, but the supply is less. So in that case, there is an inflation. Now RBI is pushing more money in the economy. So if the supply does not increase, then it can lead to the inflation. So now RBI have seen inflation is low, so they are pushing money in the economy. So now they can take risk. They want GDP to rise. So we'll see, we'll wait and watch whether this will lead to the rise in inflation or GDP or inflation. Let's see. Okay, so whatever the things that I have discussed, repo, CRR, SLR, SDF, MSF, I have discussed, impact on the borrowers, impact on the savers, everything has been discussed. Okay. So G7 meeting is going on. So G7 means group of 7 countries, Canada, Germany, Italy. So you need to buy hat. So which countries? Basically, these are the advanced economies. These countries have the very high technology. Okay. So these are the countries which got industrialized first. Now they always meet to discuss the various economy related things. Now they have invited India also to participate in the meeting. So that's why knowing G7 is very important. There is also another group called G20. Okay. So G20 includes the countries like India, the rising economies. So initially only G7 used to sit and discuss. Then they have realized now there are many emerging economies. Not including them will not bring any kind of clarity. If some person is contributing a lot, if you don't include them, so the no meeting is fruitful, right? So that's why from G7 they have started off the G20. The G20 you also have countries like African Union, India, Brazil, all these countries, South Africa, all these countries they have. But here you do not have this thing. So here you have France, UK, USA, these countries. So that is currently meeting is going on and India is going to participate in this thing. So that's the reason that you need to know. The meeting is happening in the Canada and Canadian Prime Minister has invited India. So basically previously in the last year, okay, we had bad relationships with the Canada because they were supporting the Khalistan movement. Khalistan means separate state. Some of the people from the Punjab based on the basis of the religion. Okay, so they wanted separate state, Khalistan. Okay, from there they were trying to lead the movement and the Canada government was supporting them. So India has said something, they have said something. So something has happened. Now this is a kind of revival of the talks. Canada PM has invited Indian Prime Minister and Indian Prime Minister is visiting. So we will see what will happen. Satellite communication, I have already told you. So we need internet connectivity. For the internet connectivity, I told you. So broadband connectivity. We have discussed this thing. Like say, I told you 2.5 lakh gram panchayats, they are being connected with the internet. So that scheme is called BharatNet. I have also told you about the Nidhi Fund, where some extra taxes will be levied, okay, on telecom companies, and this funds will be utilized to provide the broadband connectivity to the villages. How the broadband connectivity generally, how do you get the internet in your mobile phones? Based on into the cellular communication. If not this thing, or at homes, how do you get Wi-Fi and all? Okay, because you have this fiber cable network. Okay, maybe any beam or any Airtel or and all. So you have the fiber cables. So through that you are getting the internet, and Wi-Fi is basically wireless. So same data is being routed. Okay, for you to get this services, whatever from there, it is generally pushing into some other area, to the larger area. Basically, you are getting internet through the fiber optics, fiber cable. But can you lay the fiber cable everywhere in the remote areas, in the rural areas, far-flung areas, hilly areas, or in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands? It is not possible to establish these two things everywhere. So what if I keep a satellite in the space? I am communicating from here to satellite and then satellite to your mobile phone. So now I can have the greater connectivity. So various countries are providing, they are coming forward to provide this satellite based communication. So India has given license to provide this satellite based communication to your Starlink. So many things are happening. Starlink is your Elon Musk company. Okay, so we have seen the fight is going on between Elon Musk. Okay, so US president has cancelled all the agreements of the Elon Musk, and now in this scenario we have given the this kind of agreement to them. So we have maybe not what has happened behind at the background. So anyway, okay, for us this thing we have, and also we have also given same license to the OneWeb also. OneWeb, another company, and then we have also given it to the Geo, and Amazon is also asking it. So what will happen here? See here, this is the, let's assume this is the Earth surface. Okay, till here let's assume that this is 1,000 kilometers. This is the lower Earth orbit. Imagine on the Earth surface you have the orbit, lower Earth orbit up to 1,000 kilometers. Okay, let's say this is still 20,000 kilometers. And here it is 36,000 kilometers. This is called Geo, MEO, and this is a LEO. This is higher Earth orbit. Generally we'll place geostationary satellites, geosynchronous satellites and all. Why do we place? Generally if you place satellite here, okay, they are able to take clear pictures. The communication time is also less. So you can easily communicate and signal can come back to here. Okay, generally when you need faster communication, clear images, you will place information here. But you need so many satellites here. So for the communication purposes, generally like digital communication, your data, okay, your all those things. Okay, generally we will place it in the here. Okay, at the 36,000. You don't need so many satellites because it is at the higher up altitude. They are able to cover broader area. Cost will be less. Now, but problem is the signal has to go very far and it has to come down. So it might get distorted. So sometimes you might have seen your those dish connection and all. Okay, that will not be very right during the rainy season and all. You will always get poor signals. So now this internet, they are trying to provide the Starlink and all. They want to find a mid value between these things. So they will place the satellites here and they will try to provide the internet connection. So they are trying to get the best out of both the things. So the number of satellites will be still high, but it will be less than this, more than this thing, and it will be less than this thing. Okay, but you have to place so many satellites. It is not that easy. So this satellite will also create the junk, high cost. These are the challenges. So they might get destroyed. You have to continuously replace the satellites. You have to maintain those things. This may also create the space junk, and also the foreigner is providing you the internet services. So they might store your data, like say during the India-Pakistan war, okay, this kind of scenarios, they might disconnect the internet facilities for you. So if you are dependent on these countries, this is a kind of security threat as well for you. Okay, so these are the challenges. On positive side, we may use this thing and we can provide the broadband connectivity even to the remote areas. We need digital connectivity for our various things. We want digital infrastructure for our health, education, everything. So on the social and economic front, this might benefit, but something bad happens, okay, then these things can be problematic. So everything is given in the notes. What is the satellite communication? So Starlink, OneWeb. So here the communication will be sent in this way from satellite to this thing, ground station, and then to your terminal. Okay, so we have the significance. What are the significance and what are the challenges? Things which I have discussed, I have given here. Then you need to see some factual information. See here. So basically, Bharatiya Bhasha Anubhag Initiative, very important factual thing. So we have so many languages, over 700 languages, unofficially more than 1100 languages. Basically, they are trying to help the language translation. For suppose now we are talking about learning your language in your mother tongue. Is it possible to bring 1000 teachers? Okay, so on every 1100 languages to develop teachers and all, it is very difficult. So students need to have the resources. So we are using those translations. The books can be translated into the local languages. You have various laws. Not everyone can be able to study laws in the English, Hindi, translated in the local language using this thing. Okay, so that's why this is a very important thing. Bharatiya Bhasha Anubhav. You also have the Arnala anti-submarine. For suppose Pakistan is bringing submarine warfare for you. Now this ship is used to attack those things. You have seen this kind of question in the UPSC prelims this year. They have asked about the surveillance ships. They are asking about the various different types of the attack ships. Okay, so they may ask simply Arnala in the news. What is it? They may ask this simple direct information. That is the factual information that you need to see here. Food safety standards. You will see a lot of food adulteration. So there is an article on this thing. So they are talking about, see, India, we do not have, we have Food Safety Act passed in the 2006. As per this, we have Food Safety Standards Authority of India. But a lot of food adulteration is going on. Food adulteration keeps on happening. You might have seen even everything, milk, paneer, eggs, everything, even vegetables, mango, fruits, anything you are taking, everything you are taking only adulterated. So what is the Food Safety Standards of Authority? Is this doing? What are they doing? So there are various challenges. They are not able to check these adulteration. They are not able to do the inspections. Okay. So there is also no proper scientific study of the Indian human system. So we know these should be chemicals that should not be used. Okay. And so these are the global standards which we are using, but we do not know how our body responds. So India related specific toxicology studies has not been conducted. So how the Indian genes responds to these chemicals, what genes should be included, what genes should be avoided. These specific studies we do not have, and also implementation and enforcement is also very low. Okay, so that is the thing that is the article is talking about. See, these are challenges I was talking about. We depend on the international data. We do not have the local data about the Indian population. That is called the total diet study, toxicological studies. These things we do not have. So we need to develop this thing. That is what talks about. Now, once UPSC has asked question on the Codex Alimentarius. So these are the basically standards, food standards that has to be maintained. This was given by developed by the WHO and the Food Agriculture Organization. So if you are exporting any mango or anything, any food item to any country, so they may keep restrictions on it, sanitary and phytosanitary measures. Those restrictions should be based on this Codex and Alimentarius. Okay, so these are the standards given by the WHO and the FAO. So these are used even in the WTO discussions, whether the restrictions can be imposed on that particular food or not. Okay, in general, this is the article is about the what kind of challenges India faces. See here we have taken various measures: Prevention of the Food Adulteration Act, Food Safety and Standards Act. Okay, we also have the Food Safety Authority, but still there are various problems. See here, there are various residues. Okay, on the we keep the limits, but still in India they are not being properly implemented. So sometimes in the news you will see these are the chemicals, these are the coloring agents that are banned, but still they are continued in India. So in the UPSC prelims they will ask, this is in the news. Okay, what are the items that are banned in the news? Okay, you will get these kind of factual information. So if they appear in the news, again we'll see. So broadly, this is about the Food Safety and Standards Authority. So that's all for today. Revise the content. We have discussed very conceptual thing today, poverty and the RBI concept. They keep on repeating, okay, because every time they'll meet four times in a year. So you will see again before your exam 4 times that meeting will happen. So everything same things will be repeated. So if you revise the content well, so you will be prepared for those things. You see the PYQs, how many times the questions are asked on this thing, on the interest row. If CRR reduced, what will be the impact on inflation? If CRR is decreased, how the GDP will be there? How the employment scenario? So like this, these kind of scenarios they will ask. Okay, try to go through. Always go through the PYQs again and again. You don't have to solve in the initial phase as a beginner. Keep the PYQs beside you. Just look at the questions, both prelims and mains. It should be like you should see those questions so many number of times that questions you got by heart. You don't have to solve the answers. But once some topic is happening in the class, you should be able to relate. Something related to that thing, question is already asked. So this will increase your learning. This will enhance your reception. So you will be more attentive. This question already asked. Yes. Okay. So you will be in a better position to grab the concepts. Okay, that's all for today. Hope things are getting clear. Thank you.